All right, well, welcome everybody. Um, I'm going to put a link to Tinkercad here in the chat so that you guys can find the page that we're going to. Basically, what Tinkercad is it's a computer-aided design program that lets you make designs that can be 3D printed. It's the sort of program that I show mostly elementary school students and middle school students. If you get really advanced, it can work really well for high school students as well, but if you start getting more advanced in the design needs, there's another program by Autodesk called Fusion 360 that is also a great design program. Um, Having said that, I've done an awful lot of good work with Tinkercad itself, and I'm not quite as good as some people at it. There was one person a couple of years ago, I showed them this program. They came back to me 2 weeks later and they had designed an entire model of the Starship Enterprise in this program. So it's capable of a lot, but you have to work at it to get some of that kind of detail out. Okay, so if you go ahead and go to that link, I'm going to make an attempt at sharing a tab with you so that we can. Okay, can everyone see my screen now?
Yep, got it.
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you all are at this screen with me, we're going to go ahead and click join now. Unless you've already created an account, then you can log in. But from the join now, you can set up an educator account. So I go ahead and click that. Continue to start making my educator account. There's a teacher agreement you have to certify that you've agreed to. They make you go through a few steps, but it's okay. And then I sign in with Google. Because I have more than one account open, I pick my school account. And everybody should be at a page that looks something like this, minus this little square here. It's probably a blank page, unless it brings you straight into the tutorials, and I'm not sure where you're going to end up. So someone please let me know if you get there.
Yes, it did bring us, there was a pop-up over that said, it was like, click here and it's let's go. And I clicked it and now I think I am in a tutorial.
Okay. So for my screen, because I've been in there, I'm not sure. If you see some lessons like this, or if it's in a tutorial, it's going to make you drag and align objects with each other.
My first page says learn the moves.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I have, and it's showing me how to use
spiral staircase.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how do you get out of that tutorial?
Oh, I found there's a spot where I can go to exit lesson.
Yeah.
Should be.
It might be. Those tutorials are actually great because they do teach you everything you need to navigate through Tinkercad. So I'm not sure if you, maybe I'll give you a few minutes to go through some of those tutorials. Would everybody like that?
Sounds good to me.
I can't show you because I've already been through them.
I'm that student and I just closed out of them.
It's okay. I'll give you guys about 5 or 10 minutes to play with it a bit, and then I'll come back and show you a couple of things on the main screen. How would that be? Okay.
Okay, so it looks like that first lesson was really just like click on a shape and drag it. And now it says I've completed the lesson and I can go on to the next one. But I'm guessing if we can get back to these again later.
You
Like,
can get back to them later.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if I should just keep going for now.
I clicked on the Tinkercad icon at the top and it took me back to the home page. I'm not, my dashboard.
So you're at a page that looks like mine right now,
Yes.
more or less.
Yes, I'm
That,
there.
yeah, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, I just did that too, Joy. Yeah, I got back there too. Thank you.
So if everybody goes back there, we'll just continue on with this at this point. There are several different things that you can do with Tinkercad. The first thing everyone thinks of is 3D designs, but if you're interested in building circuits, you can go in and model circuits. They have Arduino components, they have all sorts of sensors and resistors and capacitors and all the things you would need in order to model a circuit diagram. They've got a new feature here, which I haven't played with yet. I'll just click on it to see what we've got in here. Code blocks. That would be something interesting to play with maybe at some other time, but it looks like you can learn to do some coding now in Tinkercad. I wouldn't have thought of that. Back in the 3D designs, I'm gonna create a new design. And when you do that, it brings you up with an empty workspace. It sets you up with a grid that you can edit and change. And it sets you up in 1 millimeter. All of these little squares represent a millimeter. I can go in and I can change the width and length to any width and length I want. If I was running something to be 3D printed, I might set that to whatever the base plate area of my 3D printer is, so that I know when I'm building a model, it's something that'll actually fit in my printer. Most people are fine using millimeters. You can go all the way down to 1/10 of a millimeter grid, depending how fine you want to get it moving objects around. Or you can go up here under Edit Grid and change from millimeters to inches to bricks. I'm going to leave mine in millimeters for right now, but it's interesting that they put bricks in there, because there is an option to build in blocks for Minecraft, or bricks for Legos. So you can do an awful lot of different things with Tinkercad, depending what your students are interested in. And I like to let them explore, because they find neat things when they do that. And I learn a lot, usually from students, as they're exploring. Overall, the basics of running Tinkercad, they show you a number of shapes. So you have basic shapes to choose from. And the way it works is you just grab a shape by clicking and holding with your mouse and dragging it out onto the work surface. From here, you can grab these little handles, like the black handle, and reshape the object. Or if I know my dimensions, I can click on one of the white tabs and then click in the space, put in 120 millimeters, and I have a 120 millimeter square object. You can adjust the height the same way. if I want to stack an object on top of here, up in here, sorry about that. You see this work plane. I can move the work plane around if I want to by, again, clicking it and dragging it out. And in this case, if I want to stack an object, I'm going to place the work plane right on top of the object I've already selected. Maybe grab another object and put it somewhere on the work plane, resize it. If I want to go back to the original workspace, I grab the workspace, just drag it out into open space here and let go, and I'm back to my original work surface. Now, I've seen a lot of people struggle with lining objects up in the past. So, and partly it's because the tutorials don't give you complete information. You can get through the tutorials and still not know how to do some things. I usually show students, if you start up here and just click on it and select the whole area, there's a feature up in this upper right-hand corner called Align. And if I click on that and then click these little dots in the middle, it centers the objects with each other.
Where did you click for that?
So if I highlight both objects and then go up here in the upper right, there's two little boxes that look like they're different sizes with a line next to it. It's called Align. Click on that and it brings up the Align tool. Now I can align objects to edges. I can center them. I can even put them so that one is midway between in the center of the other. Not always the most useful thing to do. I got to reset back to where I was. Sometimes you might be making a model and you want to make a hole in an object. These shaded boxes up here, that's exactly what those are for. But I'm not going to show you those directly. I'm going to show you a different way. I'm just going to grab a standard cylinder. And I'm going to make it a little taller so you can see what it does. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to align them so that I make a hole right in the middle of the square. Now I select the cylinder, and over here in this pop-up menu, it gives me some options of how I want to shape my object, like the number of segments that it's made out of, the number of sides. So what makes this look round, it's actually a number of flat sides that are stitched together. Right now it's set to 20 sides. I can max that out to make it look even more round than it was. It just smooths the surface. But up here, I can change colors of the object I've selected, or I can make it into a hole. So if I click hole and then select both objects, and some of you may be familiar with this from like Google Slides, you can group objects together. So if I hit group objects, when it's all done and I look at it from the top down, I've just created a hole in my square.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
I just was maybe a simple question. As you're going through, like, you do something and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't want to do that. Is there a way? I don't know if you showed us that. Is there like just that back arrow?
So right up here is the
Is
back
that-
arrow.
okay.
You've got undo. Control Z also works.
I kind
Just
of thought that, but I wanted to make sure that was the same function.
Yep, it's exactly like if you're doing slides or docs or anything.
Thank you.
If you get bored with the standard shapes, over here, this says basic shapes. If you click on this drop down arrow, they have text and numbers, characters. You can drag out a flipper, some spectacles. They got beanie hats. There's all sorts of fun stuff that you can play with. I'm not going to get into the shape generators in this session because that gets a little more complicated, but there's plenty of stuff to explore just in what they give you to open it up.
I have another question, Al. Do you find, because I did come into when I got into the main page, it was I saw Tinkercad basic skills.
Yep.
Does that is that an easier way to learn the process? Just going through the basic skills?
Going through those basic skills is exactly what it says it is. It's very basic skills.
Okay.
So yes, it helps you pull objects out, move them around the work plane, and resize them. And that's pretty much what it does.
Okay. Because I did see there was stuff with lettering and like just different shapes and different, yeah.
And anytime you want to get back to the lessons, if you click on this Tinkercad block, the lessons are right here. And you can pick that out of the menu. I can join classes. And one other thing that I wanted to point out on this main menu, they've added some lesson plans. So if you're running a class with students, they've got it broken down into categories, but there are a number of lesson plans that people have already designed that you can take students through to do various projects with them. Not sure at this point, I think it's just time to open up and let you guys explore and play with the program for a while. And if you have questions, hop in and ask.
Albert, I got a question for you because this looks very different from the one I was using here at Middletown, the program-wise. Seems a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever get the printer here to print, or?
I was unable to get that printer to actually print. And it's not that the printer wasn't working. I was able to get the program to connect. I was able to get it to move, but there's something in there blocking the filament from coming out.
Oh, okay.
So something's blocking the nozzle.
Yeah, probably 2 years of dirt didn't run.
Yeah, and I think Jen Colte was going to try and bring it home and see if her husband could clean it up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But this, so you think it should be able to print from this program? You just got to get it cleaned up and actually functioning properly.
Yeah. Any object from this program like this, the one I'm sharing with you right now, I designed this to, I build cigar box guitars in my spare time. So I was looking at ordering resonators to make a resonator guitar out of. And then I came across this idea of being able to press metal using 3D printed objects. So what I've done here is I've designed a metal press where I can put a tin can lid on this side, align this to the top, and then hammer it down a little bit, put some pressure on it, and it should press the lid into the shape of a resonator. I have yet to print it and try it, but that's the idea behind this particular design. And part of what go ahead.
So the problem I kept running into was every time I manipulated and changed any of the shapes, it would tell me that the file type could not be modified and wouldn't print. Is that just
Right.
a technology problem with it, or
which program are you using to modify the shapes?
Which one was it? It was the one that Jenny had suggested.
Oh, Cura?
Yes, Kira, that's it.
Yeah, I find if you do anything too complicated with Cura, it will tell you that.
Okay.
Cura is great for taking a model you've designed, slicing it, and getting it in there. You can do some basic resizing and maybe positioning on the build plate with it. But that program's really designed to get your G code out, not necessarily modify your model.
Okay.
So if you were to pull your file into this program, which you can do, up here in the upper, where am I? Upper right corner, you see where it says import, export, and send to?
Yeah.
I can import a model from, say, Thingiverse. I can put it in this program. I can modify it using these shapes or using any other design that I want. And then when I export it, I have the ability to export an STL file. I can take that STL file and then import it into Cura and just print straight from there. So I do all my modification within Tinkercad.
Okay, but you can't print from this, or you can?
You can't print directly from Tinkercad. You have to download or export that STL file and then move it into a slicer.
Okay.
Of some kind. We use Cura because it's easy to use and it recognizes most 3D printers. There are other slicer programs out there, but that's a whole different topic and a whole different lesson at this point. But I've taken a lot of things out of Thingiverse and modified them right in Tinkercad and then exported the file and printed them very, very successfully. When I first got into this, I made myself a pinhole camera that takes 35 millimeter film. But again, it's one of those things, I found it on Thingiverse to start with. It wasn't quite what I wanted, so I brought it in here and changed it to make it the way I wanted it. And then I printed it.
So my problem was that I was doing the changing and trying to print out of Cura. I should have put it into Tinkercad, then brought it back to the slicer, and then printed from there.
Yes, that would be my recommendation. I've found problems using Cura to do a lot of modification. Some very basic modification is one thing, but
Okay, thanks.
Al, for when you're looking at your drawing, I haven't figured out how to slide my view left and right.
Oh.
Because I've got the zoom in, zoom out. I've got changing the angle, but just like.
So if you're working on an object and you want to concentrate on that object, I would select the object, and then there's a box right here above the plus and minus. That'll zoom you straight to your object.
Aha, thank you.
If you want to rotate your view, there's one more little trick there. If you hold down the control key, left click and hold that, and then drag your mouse, you can rotate the view around anywhere you want.
Yes, that one I figured out because
Yeah.
I'm using a mouse, so it's just the right mouse button.
Right.
Yeah. No, I just
Or
couldn't.
there's this box up here that says top front, has the corners. If I click right on front, it shows me a front facing view. If I click on the corner, it angles it.
Yep.
So you,
Where was that box, Al?
up here in the upper left corner,
Oh,
see
okay.
this little box here? It
Okay.
says top and front.
Got it. I found the feature how to rotate the image in different ways too. That was kind of cool. Like I created that one thing that you did, the square, and then you can kind of angle it any which way you want. So that's another way to see other parts of the object.
Right.
That was kind of cool.
And there is another way if you don't like dragging and dropping with your mouse, if you select an object, you can use the arrow keys
Right.
to move it across the grid up and down. And it basically, whatever your grid size is set to, that's how far it moves it on every click. One other thing too, I'm sorry, don't mean to interrupt anybody's workflow, but you can rotate an object within a workspace. If you select your object and look at the front of it, you can see this curve, an arc with two arrows. You can grab that and turn it. Or down here, you can rotate it about its axis on the work
that was
plane.
what I was referring to, Al. That's what I
Yeah.
found, and that was really cool because that's another way to see the other parts of the object without like moving your entire grid,
Right.
Is the create projects, is that like a lesson that you can pre-plan?
That's a good question.
Yeah. How is it different from the create 3D design?
I've never tried to use it. Let me see. I'm actually looking for your answer. I'm not just ignoring it. I've never used create projects, so what I'm wondering is if it loads it into an area that allows collaborative work rather than just building your own design. Other people could contribute to it or modify it or make a copy and do something on their own with it.
I'm looking at the preloaded lesson plans up at the top right now. I mean, they're pretty cool. Not seeing any for the younger grades, fourth grade, I guess, or no, third grade. Might be some simple ones in there.
Yeah, I've never actually used this with anybody younger than third grade. I know it can be done, but the third graders I worked with had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe end of this, because I teach second grade, maybe end of the year kind of project, just for something fun.
Yeah, once they've got things down with their Chromebooks, like keyboarding and all that kind of thing, if they know how to use the mouse and manipulate things on the screen really well, Tinkercad would be fun for them. It's probably not where I'd go to teach them how to use a Chromebook, though. Okay. I wonder if I can change the screen I'm sharing. So when I looked up Tinkercad projects, it brought me to this page. And I've never explored this. This is something new that I'm just learning about now too, but there are a number of models in here under Tinkercad projects. So there's a STEM challenge, design the best wind farm blade, or build a Tinkercad house, learn Tinkercad, balloon powered cars. Click on the boat. So this particular project is an instructable that teaches them how to design a boat. If I click on that, it gives me instructions.
What did you search? You searched projects, or did you search Tinkercad projects?
I searched Tinkercad projects, but let me get back to where I was and I'll share the link that I was just on in the chat.
Yeah, because I search projects. I also get projects, but they're much more simplistic.
As I say, I haven't explored this yet. I'm kind of wondering how good they actually are.
So it looks like people can make their projects public, and you can just see what people have built in projects.
Yeah, when I opened the project, though, it says how to design the best wind farm blade in Tinkercad. There's a description. It's a math, geometry related. They give you materials, the Common Core standards, NGSS, and engineering practices. And then it says there's 2 lessons. And when I click there, it brings me into Tinkercad itself. And over on the left side, there's a set of instructions. What I've never done is, this is new to me. So I have never followed this through to see how good these instructions are and how far you can get with one of these projects. They show some images at the beginning of some blade designs that people have designed. They've got a fan set up with the blades turning. I would be curious. Yeah, now see, this looks like it's getting more into the printing of the model. Oh, okay. This particular project, they pre-designed all the blades. So you're supposed to take their designs and print them and then see what they do. I don't think that's as much fun as designing your own.
No. So did you search in the Tinkercad search area, or did you just Google search it?
I Google searched it and it brought me to the Tinkercad page.
When I search Tinkercad project in Tinkercad, I get a different set of results.
Al, I did the opposite. I searched in Tinkercad and it actually brought up the wind turbine, the same thing that you searched in Google.
Yeah.
Really? So I'm getting, my first one is Betty Tinkercad and then Tinkercad project.
So I just put into Google, what is a project in Tinkercad? And the very first thing that came up was this Tinkercad projects page.
Yep. Did you also have on there hand sanitizer and stuff like that, Al? Sunflower, gas station test?
No, the next thing I got was a 10 STEM example challenge from createeducation.com. 30 cool Tinkercad designs, Instructables, Tinkercad projects.
Yeah, so yours is a little different, but it's funny that the first one that came up on mine was your wind turbine project.
It's funny because I still don't have that one. My first one is Introduction to 3D Shapes. Let's learn Tinkercad, build the Tinkercad house. And then there's the wind farm blade. That's interesting.
Yours is just a different order. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I very much wonder if they're using some kind of algorithm to take into account past searches that we've all done and show us what it thinks we want to see.
Right.
That's probably true.
Yeah. In any case, we've reached the 11:30 mark, and
thank you, Al.
Yeah, this is very interesting. This will set me up much better for next year to get the 3D printing running again here.
Yeah, we hope you're successful with that too, because I was looking forward to getting it running for you, and I got very disappointed when found out the nozzle was blocked.
Well, that explains, 'cause I had it printing, and I printed like a third of an object, and then it just stopped. And so I'd wiped all the filament down and wiped everything down before I started printing, because it sat for almost 2 years with COVID and everything else.
Right.
But I think we got to get it to cover either way, and possibly move the woodwork into a different room. But you know,
Yeah. It's possible that printer has also outlived its usefulness, and you might want to look into a new one.
I'll address it with Rick, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
you've got a great little space there.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it used to its fullest potential. And you're on track to do that. It's just when the equipment fails, it's tough.
Well, I'm trying to teach myself how to do this on equipment that's failing. It was not easy, but
No.
But we'll keep going. I'm working with a summer program, so I might actually just tinker with it here and there when I have a free moment. So
That's great.
yeah. If I run into anything, I'll send you an email.
Yeah, I'm starting my new job July 1st.
Oh, what's that?
I'm going to be the district data manager.
Oh.
So I'll be around all summer, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd be happy to drive over there and work with you on it if you want.
All right. Yeah. If we can find some time, yeah, I'll be in touch. But thank you.
All right. Thank you all for coming, and good
Thanks,
luck with
Tom.
your designs.
Yeah, this is fun. Thank you.
All right.